rules or freedom. On today's episode, we're gonna explore a little bit as saying, is it, do you have rules or do you have freedom? And it's something because we're going through an organizational change that I wanted to let you participate on, because there is a saying that say rules and discipline create freedom. But for some people, rules and discipline are the opposite of freedom. So what is it? Now, when I'm looking at it, and especially now we're looking at it from a manufacturing fabrication point of view, from a company where you have different people interacting with each other, where you have different customers, different schedules, due dates, and everything has to be organized. And then there is quoting. How do you quote? What prices do you quote? What lead times? I mean, all of this seems pretty complex, but at the end, it's mostly the same. Now, when we're going to the saying, rules and discipline create freedom, that is something that I used last week and the week before, and I'm starting to stress that point, because people think that when you create rules and when you tell people you have to be disciplined, that they are losing their freedom, that they are not as free as they want to quote, and to what dates can they commit to a customer, that people in the manufacturing are not free about what they want to do, and how they want to progress about certain things, what job do they want to do now and what do they want to do today. If you're looking at the rule part of it, is the moment you are having a set of rules, and I don't mean like it has to be a lot of details and everything should be like with a rule. You can have that. If you look at McDonald's, they have a lot of rules, and this is why they are so efficient in making a burger. If you have a restaurant with more skilled personnel, you might need less rules, because you don't have to teach them and tell them exactly on how to form a patty and how to grill a patty. But if you don't have that skill level in your business, then you might need to create more rules. But let's look at a simple rule. For example, when we are looking at scheduling, what customer takes priority? Are all customers equal? Do you have A customers, B customers, and C customers? And a very simple thing to look at is like, if you have ever flown in a commercial airplane, especially long haul flights, you have a first class, a business class, and now you have a premium economy and then an economy. So let's stay for the sake of it, because of A, B, and C, let's stay with first class, business class, economy. So all of them are going into the same plane. It's like in your manufacturing. But you as an economy passenger, and I flew all three of them, so I know the differences, is if you come in as an economy customer, still everybody is friendly to you, they don't yell at you, they are not rude, but you have less service than a business class passenger, and for sure than a first class passenger. They get to board first. Some of them are chauffeured to the plane. You get champagne. You have one flight attendant maybe has 5 people and not 50, and so on and so on. And at the end, if you look at your business, that might be a rule. It's like, which customers are the profitable ones, which customers are important to you. They might be in your A category. And then a certain set of rules apply to A customers, and another set of rules applies to B customers. So while you are thinking it's like, oh, this is like stifling the freedom, it's actually creating the freedom on an individual base. Because somebody that now has to make the decision, like your manufacturing planning department, for example, or your planner, that has to make the decision, okay, I have a set of resources, 5 welders, 10 welders, whatever the number is, and they can only do this many jobs per day or this many jobs in a week. It's like, I have so many welding hours available or so many forming hours. It doesn't matter what it is. So how do they now know what customer should like pre-fill those hours? Well, obviously, the first class ones, so the A customers, would come first, and then the B and the C. And it's like basically like that, and then it's by due date. So what happens in a conflict if an A customer and a C customers both have the same due date, and for whatever reason there is not enough resources to do both on the same date? Like, who do you call that you're gonna be late? Or who do you try to rearrange? Or who would you rather do in overtime or weekend work, or whatever the solution might be? It would be the A customer. And if you have the set of rules, it creates a lot of freedom, first of all, for yourself, because you're not always getting that questions back as like the leader of that company, but also for the people that are actually working in your company, because they know, okay, if I have to make a decision, these are the rules. And that's the freedom for you, that's the freedom for the person that makes the decision, but it's also the freedom for somebody that has sold it, because he knows, okay, I've sold it to an A customer, and that means these rules will make sure we're getting it out of the door. And that's why rules and discipline create freedom. Now, we haven't talked about the discipline, and that's the tricky part on it, because writing down a set of rules is more or less easy. More or less, right? You don't want to be too detailed, but you don't want to be too vague. On the other hand, the discipline then means those rules have to be lived by. And that sometimes means that you have to police it. It's not my personal favorite to do, to be honest, but I'm doing it if I have to, especially in the beginning. In a change cycle, you then have to start enforcing the rules, and sometimes it's really with force and with disciplinary action if needed. I prefer not to, but sometimes it's needed. But you want to make sure everybody starts following those rules. And if everybody knows the rules and everybody is diligent and disciplined in following those rules, then you create a lot of freedom for every individual within that set frame of rules. And that's the goal, because you want to have, people should have the freedom. It's like if they are quoting, they should know, okay, what price can I quote and what lead time can I quote? And depending on who's the customer, what set of rules are valid, is like, can I just take an order if the delivery date is in 6 months? What are the rules that apply then? Go for it. And that creates then the freedom, but it also creates the security for that person to make sure it's like, okay, I'm promising this and I know I'm gonna get it because everybody plays by that rules. And I used the airline for describing the different level of customers. And some people think it's rude, but it's a necessity. If you do not have enough resources to satisfy every customer demand, you have to start choosing. That's the fact. The other part on the rules, to make it a little bit more visual, is if you look at football, for example, there is a set of rules as everybody plays with 11 players. You can't just like say, okay, today I want to play with 15, so 15 against 11, or I only want to play with 10, or I don't know. So, or everybody can be a goalkeeper. No, there is one assigned goalkeeper. And you have to have this kind of rules in your business. And then you sometimes will be the referee, and you will have to enforce that rule. And sometimes with a yellow card, and hopefully not that often with a red card. But you have to enforce them. And then if that is then where the discipline comes in. And this is how rules and discipline create freedom. I'll see you next time, guys. Cheers. Bye.